interesting study that was done about the power of price. And it looked at what effect does a 1% change, a variety of different 1% changes, have on operating profit, bottom line profit, 1% change. So the first thing they looked at, and this was across all industries, all size companies, very diverse sampling of companies. The first thing they looked at was, what if we raise price 1%? What is the effect? And what they found on average was a 1% increase in price across all businesses led to an average of an 11% increase in operating profits. 1% increase in price led to an 11% improvement in operating profit. How many of you could raise your prices tomorrow 1%? Show of hands, how many of you could raise prices? If you're charging $100 now, you're going to charge $101. Yeah. How many of you would like to see an 11% improvement in profit? Yeah. Let's look at some other changes. Then they looked at variable costs. Your variable costs are your cost of sales, your gross margin. And they looked at what happens if we lower our variable costs by 1%, what is the impact? And they found on average, it resulted in a 7.8% increase in operating profit. Not as good as the 1% change in price, but hey, 8% improvement in profit due to a 1% decrease in variable costs. Third, they looked at sales volume, and what they found is on average, a 1% increase in sales volume on average leads to just a little bit more than a 3% increase in operating profit. And finally, they looked at a 1% decrease in fixed costs. Your fixed cost is your overhead, your operating expenses. And what they found in the same survey across all companies, a 1% decrease in your operating expenses on average leads to just over a 2% improvement in operating profit. So I share this because we're talking about pricing and how often, we think about, should I raise my prices or not? And what this shows is, as compared to other 1% changes, an increase in price gives you a much better improvement in profit than the three other decisions. And yet what's interesting is when I work with small business owners and we're talking about how do we improve profitability, what do you think is the first thing that they consider? If they want to increase profitability, what do you think is the first thing they look at?
Cutting fixed costs.
Yeah, fixed costs. It's okay, we're going to cut marketing. Who needs marketing? Let's cut marketing. Let's cut payroll. Let's cut insurance costs. Let's try to renegotiate our rent. They try to cut overhead. And if that doesn't achieve the goal, then they go to their salespeople and they say, okay, you, everybody needs to go sell more stuff because we want more profit. And if that doesn't achieve the profitability goal, then they go to their vendors, their suppliers, and they beat up on their vendors to try to get better prices so they can make more profit. And if that doesn't work, heaven forbid, last thing we could possibly do is raise our price. And yet, in terms of bang for the buck, in terms of leverage, your greatest leverage in terms of profitability is raising prices. And particularly today, when we are now, for the first time in a long time, we're in an inflationary period in the economy where your costs are going up. Your costs are going to go up 2, 3, 4% this year on average. If you're not raising prices, automatically your profitability is going to go down, because I can assure you that your costs are going up this year. So I think every company needs to be looking at, okay, to what degree can I raise my prices today? Okay.